Welcome, everybody. This is the Ends Justify the Memes, the show where the lowest of the low, that is the most wretched of wretched and deplorable to end all deplorables, two white heterosexual Christian males from the American South talk about culture, philosophy, history, health, fitness, what it means to be a man in the 21st century. I'll be your host, Redneck Razor, and my producer and co-host. What side are you on me today, there, Tank?
I'm on your left.
I don't know. It's all backwards. He's over here.
Yeah.
He's that way. So, guys, lend us your ear and crack open that beer because the ends always justify the memes. So, I am not drinking, but my wife and I got drinks the other week, last Thursday, and I took her to this place that just has all kinds of beer that I used to live nearby, and it was a big playground for me. So, in any case, she found this. This is Inception beer meme, but then it says at the bottom, it says, hold on, that's fuzzy, but still it says, oh, wait, that's the wrong movie. So anyways, Inception beer meme. And it tweren't too bad. Tweren't too bad at all. Calvert Brewing Company, an old Maryland beer.
I haven't had beer in a month.
Yeah. A month?
Oh, Jane had COVID-19. Oh, wait. Yeah, I've had beer in a month. Val, you had COVID-19. She says, I still have C19 brain fog. And so I have not. So I have been hit or miss for a while. She made it say hit or miss. Well, that's funny because Joe Rogan got it and he got over in like 2 days. So explain that, Val.
He's a Superman. He is an Uberman. Ubermensch. You know how they make those Italians.
Is he Italian? He is Italian.
Yeah. He's like Italian Irish. He's from Boston, dude. He's all those things. So guys, if you didn't know, I know it's usually the regular crew, but hey, there is an entropy. If you wish to be over there, you can send us donations if you would like to do that. There's, of course, a PayPal in the description. There's a Subscribe Star that I don't think is working for whatever reason. And yeah, I don't know what else. Tank keeps saying go to his OnlyFans, or no, that's not OnlyFans. It's Locals. That's right.
Locals, yeah.
Locals. OnlyFans he got rid of a long time ago. He was ahead of the curve on the porn banning, you know. Yeah. Chuck Norris caught COVID-19 and the virus had to quarantine.
Holy
True
shit.
story.
I haven't heard a Chuck Norris joke in 2007?
Oh, we've had some Chuck Norris memes on here once or twice. It's been a while.
Oh, we have, yeah. I missed it. It was one of my favorite joke formats for a long time. I kind of hate that it went away.
I had a girlfriend that was like obsessed with Chuck Norris jokes. She actually had like books of them. But they're all great. So I don't know. In any case, hey there, Josh, Thane, getting a full crew in.
The gang's all here.
Yeah, as they're coming in, man, why don't you play the intro to the Memecast News?
Let me find it. Hold on. Here we go.
All right. Well, first up in the Memecast News, we are pulling no punches today, folks. We have Castro's daughter and a bunch of other world leaders that would love to speak to you about your future. Let's hear what they have to say.
This global pandemic has also created an opportunity to build back better.
Building back better, this pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts.
Now we have to accelerate because we are living the first consequences of basically climate disorders. It's time to rush, and President Biden is 100% right to do so.
Last week, I shared the outlines of my plan to build back better.
It's about building this country back better.
As Europeans, we increased our targets for 2030 and 2050 a few months ago. We need India and China to be with us. With Chancellor Merkel, we had a discussion with President Xi.
The Great Reset.
And I think we felt the commitments of President Xi on climate to work with the US and with Europe.
Hold on, I just want to make fun of French accents real quick. We continue.
First, to accelerate his target of 2030. Our strongest beliefs are challenged by the rise of a yet unknown new world order.
A new world order that China has to be part of the process of creating it, and they have to buy in, they have to own it. Really need to bring China into the creation of a new world order.
Partnership and cooperation among nations is not a choice. It is the only way. Now is the time to join together through constant cooperation and strong institutions and shared sacrifice and a global commitment to progress to meet the challenges of the 21st century.
Build it back better.
We must build back better.
Build back better.
To build back better.
To build back better.
Build back better.
Build back better.
A unique opportunity to reset our global agenda.
An unprecedented opportunity to rethink and reset the ways in which we live.
Pour construire le monde post-Covid.
I mean, you don't have a choice, guys. It's the only way. Obama said so.
Oh my God. When all these guys are in agreement, that means some shit's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, lots of stuff's, pretty effed up right now there, Tank. We have this, of course. Every soldier is aware they get court-martialed if they lose their rifle. So what do generals and presidents get when they leave behind weapons for an entire army? I mean, Joe Biden said you didn't need AR-15s.
Who mean you don't need them? The Taliban do need them.
Apparently.
That's why we gave them a bunch of AR-15s.
Quite happy about it, of course. Something like this was the graphic going around. Oh, it's a beautiful thing, actually.
Hell
they
yeah.
got a buttload of Humvees and 5-ton trucks, it looks like. 634 light armored vehicles. Yeah. Oh, and 155 mine-proof vehicles. Few armored personnel carriers. The SUV is the big one, man. I want my Toyota Helix, so. Although I wouldn't mind a Saw. That'd be pretty fun. I mean, they jam a lot and stuff, but they're still fun. Yeah, a couple fixed-wing aircraft, a couple helicopters. No biggie. No biggie.
Nothing, yeah. They just have like the most powerful Air Force in all that region now.
Yeah. Don't you worry about it, folks. They're going to take care of it just fine. So I had this plan. Me and the boys hauling butt back over the border from Tajikistan after tactically acquiring 2 Humvees, MRAMP, 3 Scan Eagle drones, 8 crates of select fire M4s, and a pallet of shrink-wrapped Benjamins from the Taliban outpost we infiltrated in our clever disguises. And, if you do get your hands on one of those sweet Humvees, just expect a call. Hello, Taliban. We've been trying to reach you about your Humvee's extended warranty. Got to do business no matter what, folks. But I just want to remind everyone to spot the difference here. In the meanwhile, we have the old Taliban kicking back, shooting out some memes.
This dude's been killing it on Twitter.
Yeah. I had one with a bunch of stuff on there, including this one, but it was just too cluttered. But I like this from old 4chan. It says, Taliban is now sneed posting. This is not a drill. The Taliban is now sneed posting.
Oh my God. I'm surprised I'm almost worried this guy's a Fed, because why hasn't Twitter banned him yet?
Like he says when they organize rallies to beat people up who are completely innocent.
Yeah, but this guy's like one might say right-wing extremist. And you would think that would be the kind of thing that Twitter would be all over, but they're just letting him. I mean, he said things a lot more spicy than what a lot of other people get banned for.
Well, I think that this is where you got things wrong. You're the right wing extremist because he's part of the religion of peace.
Oh, okay.
And you see, the religion of peace, they take care of their people. And I mean, here's a perfect example of that. So you have one of these lefties who says, so I told him that Islam is non-violent. No, I myself am not a Muslim, but I will defend Islam from hate. He says, I like you. We'll behead you last. And of course, as far as the media goes with the pullout, we have negative coverage of the Afghan war. Nah. Negative coverage of the withdrawal. Yeah.
Hey.
And of course, the neocons be like,
oh my God.
You can't tell me that Jenny from the block wasn't bad looking in that video. I mean, until she shows her horse teeth. That's all I gotta say.
I would smash. I'm not against it. I'm not gonna say I can fix her, but I can smash.
You like those I think you like those rock eyes, you know, those Dwayne Johnson eyes she's got.
I like them on the rock, yeah.
Yeah. Listen here, jabroni. Leaving Afghanistan for dummies. Civilians first, equipment next, soldiers last, destroy base. Seems pretty basic, but as incompetent as our military is, there are a lot of vets who, well, they happen to have connections and they happen to work for private security, and so they put together things like this, Operation Pineapple Express, where a rogue team of retired U.S. vets rescues Afghan allies during secret mission conducted behind Biden's back. Well, they're private actors. They can do whatever they want, actually. So, but yes, so private citizens have done more than our own military to get the thousands of people out of Afghanistan. I don't know why that surprises anybody, though. It should surprise no one. Never forget who was VP when they left us to die in Benghazi and lied about it. I mean, and that was a screwed up situation. And by the way, the survivors of that were because, again, those private security contractor guys. It wasn't the military forces. But, you know, Biden, he thought about this when he pulled out of Afghanistan. And, you know, he thought about Barack and Hillary, and that we botched an evacuation of 30 Americans in Benghazi. He was just like, hold my ice cream. Listen here, Jack. Hold my ice cream. We're about to pull out sloppy. And so, taken from a book from Cho Su, a page in the book that is, take your time conducting a withdrawal so your enemy has ample opportunity to attack. Weep like a little girl before your enemies. Cho Su.
Oh no. Oh no.
So now the question is, Afghan was a success, or was it Trump's fault? You know, he was going to pull out earlier. That's what old Biden said. He was going to pull out earlier. Yeah, he probably would have had a plan when he pulled out. I'm sure you guys could have pulled out in a week if you had planned it well.
Yeah, that's why I don't buy this whole thing. I don't believe they fucked it up. I believe they did this on purpose, and they did it exactly the way we wanted to do it.
What they did is they screwed us over. They screwed everyone over except for the Taliban and probably China. But no, I don't think they did this like
it's too easy not to do it this way.
Right.
To me, it's like if a boxer throws a fight, you don't blame it on incompetence. He's just not being honest with his motivations. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I'm looking at this.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, I forget what it was. My wife said something to me about getting our daughter, the one we just had, you know, our 10-week-old, into excuse me, into like athletics. And, and I'm thinking she's 10 weeks old. I don't know how far away that is from now, but let's say 10 years, maybe even 15 years as a teen or something. And I'm like, honey, I'm not perceiving the world that like it's going to be going about like it has for the last 50 years.
Right.
Like, I don't think you understand the scope and depth of what is going on here behind the scenes. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist either. I'm just saying I'm not having these expectations for any children we have to have the kind of lives that we considered normal for so long in yuppie America, right? So, and I think this is just a part of it. And that's all I'm saying is that we're slowly transitioning folks into the new global power, which will be China. And in the meantime, we have, Biden leading the charge. And I do want to take a moment, as it were, to honor the troops, even though these wars were in vain for most of them because they were fighting for terrible reasons, but they didn't know it. They were being used as pawns. And that's what they do. They prey on these young men who want to go in the military, who have a sense of honor and patriotism, and like myself. And they, because we're manipulated by the media and all the propaganda and whatever else, we don't know the truth or the reality of these things. And our parents before us didn't teach us. So let's take a moment. That was a pretty cool pick. Remember those who have fallen. I think that they're still honorable people, regardless of the elite's purposes, because at least they did some sort of service, something bigger. But let's also remember all you need to know, because Joe Biden had 13 bodies coming off a plane, and all he could do was check his watch. Just absolutely crazy. Like, this is all you need to know. When you're supposed to pay tribute to troops you sent to die, but the ice cream shop closes at 3 on Sundays. I mean, it's insane that one, he doesn't have I don't know why he's looking at his watch. Maybe it's because he's old and his bedtime was coming up or something. But the 10 times you should never look at your watch: at your job, at your child's birth, at your kid's baseball game, during sex, on a first date, at your kids' graduations, at a wedding, at church, at your kid's recital, at the airport where they're bringing out 13 coffins that hold the remains of 13 brave soldiers whose deaths are your responsibility. And, we have this from the past, pandering to the woke skull commies. But yeah, not so much here. But maybe he wasn't checking the time. Maybe I'm being unfair. It could be that he had a Apple Watch and may have been watching something instead.
Oh my God, no. No.
In any case, this wasn't the only big thing that he did this week. Now, some people will say, and I'm going to debunk them because I don't think they understand what they're watching, but some people will say that Joe Biden was not sleeping here. You tell me what you think.
Chapter in the beautiful story of the friendship between our two nations, the United States of America and the Jewish and democratic state of Israel. Both of us who seek to do good and need to be strong. Both of us who are
sleeping or no sleeping, Tag?
I don't know if he's sleeping, but I've seen some people on Twitter be like, "Oh, he's not sleeping. He's deep in thought." He's not deep in thought, but he's at the very least nodding off.
People were saying he was moving around his hands. That is not a sign of being awake. That, like, you don't understand how unconsciousness works, right?
Yeah.
I have a newborn, and she is constantly moving in her sleep, and especially stretching and moving her hands. People twitch in their sleep. People will jump and wake themselves up in their sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Sleeping or not doesn't really matter. He's incompetent either way. I mean,
Yeah, that's not the posture of someone you want as your leader. You know, and the thing that kills me about this is all the time Trump was in office, people were saying, "Oh, the whole world's laughing at us. Trump's a buffoon," and then we see like literally Sleepy Joe, right, like laying here in front of, and and we're supposed to pretend like the emperor has clothes.
right. Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. At least I think Joe Biden feels bad sometimes about it. I mean, he has to walk around all the great men, the paintings of the great men in the White House. And not everyone's a fan of old Thomas Jefferson, but George Washington, I think he's pretty well respected. So,
God, he looks like he's dying,
doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he talks like he's dying.
Like, it's one thing to be old. Like, Trump's old, but he still looked lively.
Well,
like I can't think of a time where I looked at Joe and thought, or I'm sorry, Trump, and thought that he was like sick. You know what I mean? Like Joe Biden looks bad here. Like he needs to sit down.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not present, dude. I mean, I don't know. Either way, the globalists, they're getting their way. It's nation building, nation destroying, whatever it is, shifting of power. It's all going on. Let me show you a little example of all the nation building we've done over the years.
Well, you know how it is.
I mean, if we didn't do it, the bad guys might. And of course, everyone knows. Oh, GW is going. I got the U.S. into an unwinnable 20-year war. You morons are arguing whether it's Trump's fault or Biden's fault. I mean, come on. One, Trump let the military do their thing and they destroyed ISIS in a month. So come on. This isn't about that. They pulled the troops out. They did everything in covert night. They abandoned the citizens. They did it on purpose. They wanted to be a national scene. Someone's going to have to come in and have power. Maybe if the United States doesn't reinvade, what they'll do is they'll say, we're going to ask our partners in China. I mean, it can't stay the way it is, though. That's for sure. That area, too much stuff going on over there. Meanwhile, Australian citizens asked for Taliban to liberate their country. And since we were talking about China, they have their fingers all over Australia, too. But from Rep. Madison Cawthorn, he says, China is capitalizing on Biden's weakness. They are securing rare earth mineral access in Afghanistan to monopolize the telecoms and satellite market. That way, they can win a war with the West without firing a shot. And he says, very real consequences on what is happening now. So, it's something like this. Thanks for Afghanistan's 4 trillion lithium reserves. Can't make batteries without it. Thanks for the COVID. That really helped my election. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris was seen posing in front of a communist Ho Chi Minh bust. The worst photo op for an American in that country since Jane Fonda donned a helmet there in 1972. But she's cozying up to China right now. She's on her little tour of the East. And you know what's going to happen next. There were calls, actually, for, the 25th to be invoked today, but it was by Republicans, and no Republican anyone's going to listen to. So, in any case, Kamala continued her tour, planting flowers in front of the graves of her idols. And Joe Biden was asked questions by the press. and he is more dedicated to evacuating himself after his own press conference than evacuating the stranded Americans from behind enemy lines. So then there was a manhunt out for him. If you guys didn't see this, manhunt for Joe Biden, Amber Alert, white male, 78, wandering in D.C., thinks he's a president. And old Al Roker caught him down in the hurricane, getting flushed away. But don't you worry, the president is fine. He is quite fine, in fact, and he is back home in the White House consoling himself. And, of course, Hunter is always there. And also looking for extra laptops if anyone has any. So that would bring us up to, what's going on with the military right now. Because why didn't their commanders say no like they did to Donald Trump? I mean, does anyone else know about this? Like they lied to Trump. They did all these other things. They refused his direct orders, his lawful orders as the commander-in-chief, and nothing happened to any of them. And now they produce this kind of crap.
Terroristic threat. Because not you talking about a bunch of gun owners going out and starting a bloodbath. Like, have you never heard of the Insurrection Act? There's reasons why the military doesn't deploy within the U.S. And if they did, your little good old boy system is not going to fare well for you. Understand that if active duty military actually get deployed within the United States, that weapon is not just pointed at other people, other countries. It's pointed at you. If you do not get in your house when I tell you to, you become the enemy. Martial law, where your rights get curtailed. You don't have all those same freedoms that the Constitution guarantees at that point. So be careful what you wish for and stop opining about things you don't understand. Okay, bye.
So wait, was she what?
I don't know. This staff sergeant was basically just saying if you guys want to stand up with weapons, we're going to squash you. Which is interesting because what she's saying is she's willing to murder American citizens without due process. And granted, if there's an actual insurrection, that's in part why we have the modern Constitution. It's because of Shays' rebellion. But, then Shay was held on trial and jury nullification got him off. So that's how it worked back in the day. We don't have a system like that anymore. And I don't know. I think she's just full of crap, though. I think she's a diversity hire, probably. I mean, she's talking some big trash. She probably is a mechanic or something. And here, this is what I see. I'm just saying. It's probably, I see her rank, whatever. It's probably something like this, though. Rate yourself and others' work. And it's like me and the boys.
Hell yeah.
Everyone's a badass. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, as Mike Tyson said.
Is that North Korea?
I have no clue.
I wonder if I can buy that. I would love to just show up to a party, look just like that.
I would have thought. I think I've seen a similar style, like in the Philippines or something like that. But yeah, they're pretty big medals. But in any case, yeah, and this is goes back to the whole thing, of course, of women in combat and why are they there in the first place? Like, seriously, I'm not saying that women can't have roles in the military. They actually probably should and can for various reasons, but not necessarily combat. And it works the same with law enforcement. And for instance, here.
Else be in law enforcement. There's just so many people that say that women shouldn't be in this job. Women can't do this job, yada, yada, yada. And I'm here to tell you that women can.
That's a kid.
Why
a
didn't she just tase him?
Right. Well, interestingly enough, though, even the male cops are not that good at their jobs. They don't know anything either. They're undertrained. And actually, I'm not saying it's easy to become a police officer, but it depends on the district you're in, the area, the force. And it's not actually necessarily that difficult if you have, probably an average IQ and are in half decent shape. So obviously, we've all seen all of the donut munching cops. But here's an example of exactly what I'm talking about, and it happens all the time.
And whooping these cops' ass in broad daylight, giving them the Beats by Dre. It's not even Christmas. Blackout! Introduce you to the floor, dummy. Here come the backup with the taser. He's unaffected from the taser. Boy, this man must have pressed down, X, right, left, right, R1, right, down, up, triangle, and unlocked unlimited health like this Grand Theft Auto. This man wilding to try to get 6 stars. I had no clue Luke Cage grew here. And on top of that, why this stuff always happening on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard? Whatever dream this man thought he had, it was a lie. Yo, run this back real quick. It was a 1-on-3 handicap match at Roadblock. Then the cops had outside interference come on their behalf with a weapon, and the taser did not even work. What you need to do is stop trying to arrest this man and recruit him to your side, because he's clearly an avenger in the flesh. The Bible says, if God is for us, who can stand against us? Clearly the Lord is with him. Somebody call the EMTs for the cops, please.
So yeah, if you notice, there were 2 women there in the beginning. They dropped out of the fight real quick as soon as they could. That's pretty standard. There's some women that are really tough and will hang in there. It's not most of them. It's just not. Joshua Ham says the women are in combat to mitigate white rage and toxic masculinity. Now I understand. I'm enlightened. I am no longer a bigot. Thank you, Joshua, for enlightening me. So, yeah, and you know why we have all this, folks? We have this because of, people who don't want to go to work. We have this because of commies. I don't want to go to work tomorrow.
We never did, so it's fine.
Volume 1. Yeah, right. It's funny. He never fed his children either, hardly. So it's one of those things. It's crazy. Characters whose plans always fail miserably.
That's some boomer cartoons there, guys.
Yeah.
For anyone not born or had cable early.
But yeah, I mean, we keep trying to implement these plans of control and all, and that, centralized government, and we're going to do it right this time. And of course, they want to do all these crazy things. Import Somalia, elect Somalia, become Somalia. I mean, and most people aren't paying attention. They're just trying to get by, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. The landlords are living month to month. The banks and corporations are living bailout to bailout, and the U.S. government is living war to war.
Well, yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, more or less, right? I mean, you might ask yourself, why can't we just print more money to pay off all this debt? I've seen this one before. If you guys don't know those guys you can't see, you do not see those guys. They had a lot of inflation. That was one of the reasons why they went to war. It's almost like corporations and the government working together to wage wars. Something that happened before in history. I don't know. In any case, some people are still denying that. They're saying there's no inflation. Okay, inflation is low. Inflation is transitory. And then finally, inflation is good.
Well, you got to keep that. You got to keep it changing.
Yeah. Well, they didn't put in there, well, if inflation goes up, wages will go up too. It's like, yeah, that's real smart there, retard. Anyways. So, Americans, why does life keep getting more expensive? The Federal Reserve. I don't know. It's kind of like you guys want to know the secret? It's the US dollar. And nothing's holding it up. And I know someone's gonna say Bill, but the petrodollar. We have to trade in oil. Well, that can't necessarily last forever, folks. It's only been an agreement for I don't know what. We started that off in Bretton Woods, right? And then continued it after we got rid of our foreign exchange standard and scrapped Bretton Woods, right? So that was 20 years? Something like that. Maybe a little bit longer than that. 25-ish. That New World Order didn't last long. But don't you worry, this next one will. Just imagine, America. China everywhere. I'm not saying this because I'm anti-Semitic, folks. I'm not showing this meme.
His anti-Semitism has nothing to do with this.
Yes. It's just that Israel and banks are all about that globalization.
And there goes the YouTube, guys. It's been real. It's been real. Thanks for coming out.
Hey, I mean, the United States is too. How come it's not anti-Semitism when I say the United States, that is our government, the elites are all about the banking and globalization and their own power and might. It's kind of weird how that works.
I'm just saying.
What have you been saying?
I was just going to say that I have questions about the USS Liberty attack. We can keep doing this.
Do you know about the dancing, the rooftop dancers tank? The dancing Israelis.
So anyway, this China meme, how's it going?
Yeah. So this is the difference between China lore and China gameplay. Hey, how's that workers' comp work out there in China, Tank?
I don't think it exists.
Oh.
To be quite honest with you, I've never heard any Chinese person mention workman's comp.
So you're saying if something like that happened to you on the job, you're screwed? Would one potentially become homeless afterward?
Well, funny you bring this up because when I was in China, I saw guys that would be like on skateboards and they'd be missing like their legs and an arm or look like really bad burned. It looked like something that'd be from like a chemical fire, some kind of workplace accident. It didn't look they were born that way. And they were like singing very poorly on the side of the street, begging for money with like a karaoke machine. Very poor singing. So the people that I asked about it when I was there didn't go into much detail about it, the Chinese people, but they did make it seem, the impression I got was that, yeah, if you fuck yourself up at work, you're pretty much screwed. And they also have really, really terrible Good Samaritan laws. So like if someone gets fucked up, you try to help them and you fuck them up worse, then your ass is on the line.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. It's I don't know. I don't think that laws like that in general of any sort are necessarily good, but there's got to be backup systems, right?
I mean, yeah, like the good thing about it in China is that they have really strong family values. So a lot of times when people get fucked up, at least they have their family to rely on. You don't really have that here, you know.
Well, that's kind of what I was, thinking is like the church and family and all that stuff. Yeah. We've lost all that there though, because it's funny because people are the lefties are saying that we're going to go through a cultural revolution soon and we're going to indoctrinate all these people. I don't know if you saw the Veritas release from yesterday with the teacher who was a Antifa member that's he said he had 180 days to indoctrinate kids every year. So when these lefties think that they have to do this, they don't understand that we're already there. We already had our cultural revolution. A lot of that happened in the 60s, and we already went left. We went left before that, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of different. Americans were still religious and other stuff. But by the time the 60s came, we accepted a certain globalism and global world order. We went through the Korean conflict, which people had an uproar about because it wasn't constitutionally done, and we did it for the UN, and then it just kind of became accepted. Eisenhower got elected because of that. Then Eisenhower, he didn't quite do anything crazy like that with Taiwan, but he still moved in forces there. Of course, we were protecting Japan as well. So there's stuff there going on with the militarization building up or whatever. And then, of course, he warned about that. And at the same time, Vietnam was amping up, which he was, a bit of a part of. So at least in the beginnings. But my bigger point is that, yeah, these things are always seen as, oh, we're going through it now. And it's like, man, we've already been through it. Everyone's indoctrinated in these ways already. This is just the next push or the next wave. That's why we can talk about Yuri Bezmenov and say, well, everyone's already been demoralized, right? The generation or two that it takes has already occurred. I mean, that's what the millennials and the zennials are, right? The Zoomers, they're the indoctrinated generations. So it was just done differently here, I would say, I guess.
Yeah.
So in any case, I advocate for freedom usually, but all these people, all these commies, they just want to commie. It's like right here from the former governor.
Being free to choose for me means being free to make your own decisions. Screw your freedom. Free to live your own life. Screw your freedom. Pursue your own goals. Screw your freedom. Chase your own rainbow. Without the government breathing down on your neck or standing on your shoes. Screw your freedom.
Seems a big change, right? Big change. What happened?
He's made his money.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I got another one of those coming up. You'll see here in a bit. Somebody making some money. And then, of course, we have all the lies we get told all the time. Climate change is a thing that we've been trying to push upon people forever because the UN believes that this is the thing. I'm probably going to start, I don't know if I'm going to do it tomorrow, but probably next week over on All-1, I'm probably going to start doing the series on the occultism and the UN and their weird Malthusian death cult beliefs and how the environment ties in with that. And I'm not joking. Guys, I say all this, I'm not joking. I will show you what they cite and recite and where it comes from. Alice A. Bailey and H.P. Blavatsky and all this stuff. And yes, it is, it's quite odd. But yeah, they have all these predictions, right? 1960s, oil's gone in 10 years. In the 70s, ice age in 10 years. In the 80s, I remember this, acid rain will destroy the crops in 10 years. And then the ozone will be destroyed in 10 years. The big one when I was a kid was the killer bees. The killer bees are coming, the killer bees. And then they just bred with the regular bees and became docile and everything was fine. Then we had the ice caps are going to be gone in 10 years. We're living that now. We only have 12 years left, or 10 years now, right? I mean, if it gets them to shut up, it might be a good thing. I don't know. I'm ready to go Mad Max mode myself. So, yet none of this has happened yet. And it's like their solution. It's like, hey guys, get this. If you separate your garbage into plastic, paper, and glass, if you stop driving your car and use public transportation instead, if you stop eating meat, if you pay the government more taxes, actually, this one is the most important one. Your government, get this, your government will reduce the temperatures of the planet. Just got to give them enough money. I don't know. And commies will still dispute this. We have actually, I mean, right here.
End of the day, and I really hope you internalize this, you got blown the fuck out. And it's not because your points are bad. It's because your points are bad and you're stupid.
You're fat.
I don't know if Baltimore can handle that kind of criticism.
Who was that he was talking to?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I like the Sigma memes. So the Sigma male. Sigma male is quite a lonely life, folks. I don't think Matt says, what's a Sigma? Oh, okay. So the idea of a Sigma male is that he's not an alpha or a beta. A Sigma is an alpha, but he doesn't do all the alpha stuff. He still keeps to himself and does he likes to be alone and whatever else, but he's still alpha in his presence or whatever. So it's confusing to folks. It's a meme thing, man.
it's a Twitter meme thing.
Yeah. And it's all the girls. They're writing articles about it. And that the girls actually like Sigma males and all this other stuff. And I don't mean the people that are promoting the idea. I mean, so-called journalists. So, whatever. In any case, so in more news, guys, if you hadn't heard, looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Fans Only says it will no longer ban porn and study U-turn. Stunning U-turn after user backlash. Now, they weren't banning everything in the first place. This all had to do with, as I told you last week, I believe, their banking abilities, their pay providers. That's the issue. And so the cabal that runs the world and the banking and all that stuff, they might be evil in many, many ways, but they, for some reason, when OnlyFans had sex trafficking, they had to shut it down. I don't know why they still promote the federal government and their sex trafficking, but when OnlyFans does it, they shut it down. There's another case, another thing that Kamala Harris went after really hardcore out in California. I forget what it was. It was like some website that people would get on the back end, and these guys were working with law enforcement. I talked about it a long while ago. A lot of the conservative types, like your Charlie Kirk types or others, were getting on the libertarians or whatever, because they were talking about how they were child pedophile rings. But it's like, as far as I understood, that the owners of the company were working with law enforcement at every step of the way, and they still wanted to shut them down. So again, it's quite funny how the scandals with the border, the government, the DHS agent that spoke out from Project Veritas the other week talked about that, or the people that have flown on the Lolita Express and ran in Epstein circles. It's quite funny how they never really get in trouble. In any case, I guess they don't want the competition. They're like, you can't have sex trafficking. Only we can, to blackmail. I don't know. But, luckily for you, it is back on the menu, ladies and gentlemen. And, worst comes to worst, if H&R Block needs a copy of your income source, you can do this. Of course, this just shows you how loose our society has gotten, how different it's become. And it's exactly that thing we were just talking about that cultural revolution. That's already happened here. Like, we're living in this malaise, this weird dream, a fever dream about the world. And it's people waking up to reality, and they're like, oh my God, all those things are changing. It's like, dude, this has been here for so long, and you've just been walking along like a little sheep. I mean, even here, please don't leave dead hookers in our bathrooms. I mean, obviously we have problems, folks. Don't tell me how to live my life. Look, Harvard, my friends, just put an atheist as their chief chaplain.
Well, why wouldn't they?
He's the head of the entire chaplaincy. He's a humanist chaplain. He's been a humanist chaplain for 20 years. He's so good at organizing. We're going to put him in charge. Harvard, once a school of divinity, folks. All of our major academic institutions are, and now they're institutions of Satanism. I mean, it's really funny how this happens. It's like, why are they replacing them toppled down statues with satanic ones?
What the fuck?
I'm not saying they did that in this case, but I mean, this is the real fake news. But there is a Baphomet statue that was put up somewhere a while back. I can't remember where. And there's, if you can see, I don't know how big your all screens are. There's actually a child there next to him. Let's see if I can get this zoomed in. At least he's not the androgynous one, where, you know, has breasts and stuff. Yeah.
Without the kids, I could look at the statue and be like, well, maybe they just really like black metal, but that makes it a little creepy.
Yeah. But of course, you know, at the same time, we have media that covers for stuff like this, and they have impeccable standards, apparently. It says, we have higher standards for game show hosts than for members of Congress. This is from Jake Tapper, by the way. Definitely a sign of a healthy society with its priorities in order. And then with the reply here, it says, tell us more about your standards. Oh, Jeffrey Toobin. And need I remind you that Toobin did some Toobin on the Zooms. So, anyways, and of course we have Emily, who wants to join the girls' football team. Emily can't because of transphobic rules. Justice for Emily, please, folks. Help Emily out. This is progress, guys. Progress. Moving
Progressive
forward.
overload.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, if you guys hadn't heard, even rich guys like John Cena can make a bunch of extra money with a wacky experiment. Google the John Money experiment and find out.
Oh God, no, no.
Just a reminder that Republican lawmakers want to make child drag shows illegal.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to wonder when this is going to happen. I feel like it's coming.
I mean, at some point, that's just kind of the way it goes. But hey, whatever happens here, right? Whatever happens now, there's always later. There's always things yet to come.
People cover up who they really are. Some people are open about themselves, and too many are too scared or ashamed to come out. But in the end,
oh my God.
What, Tank? Do you disavow?
No, I don't disavow. I just
all right. There you go.
I was just making like some actual cringe video about this shit.
So well, this is like the cringe section, right? So and speaking of which, like Fortnite decided they're going to put MLK in the game to educate people. And white kids after they lose to MLK skin. So this worked out really well for them, apparently. So let me get this right. Donald Mustard, you guys arranged a very informational video about Black Lives Matter to be shown on Fortnite, but you put a vending machine with infinite tomatoes beside the screen. My entire lobby were throwing tomatoes at them the whole time. Wow. And this guy's like, well, they're actually throwing tomatoes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Not that popular, folks, to be burning down cities, vandalizing things. Of course, this is what it does to the children. Whoa, our teacher's doing a class on the guy from Fortnite. Fought for civil rights. So, like, no hacking during PvP games. So, can we do Fortnite for homework? Like, what is this? Why does a gaming developer need to virtue signal? What possesses these people to do such a crazy thing?
Cheeseburgers?
Must be. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. So, of course, I'm going to be homeschooling my kid to prevent them from being socially awkward and weird. More parents opting to homeschool. And yeah, dude, sending your kids to school is not good anyways. I kind of wish I didn't do that with my daughter, but my first daughter, that is. My oldest. Aren't you worried your homeschool kids will turn out weird, they ask? As kids at the Wildwood Elementary in Minnesota practice the zombie walk to keep them safe as they go to the cafeteria.
What the fuck?
Absolutely insane. You're bad parents and you're worse teachers and administrators, and none of you are leaders. So help me.
They don't even have their hands up.
Right? Actually, wearing a mask can help you or help your child learn to hate the government.
Well, yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. But you're the one putting it on their face. And if you didn't know, guys, just a new study found that N95 masks are more effective than surgical cloth coverings against COVID-19.
Really?
Yeah. Did you know, Tank, that fire is hot?
I saw something, this might be the same study, but they were saying that against even the best masks, which I assume means like respirators, that moderate ventilation was as good as the best masks. Is basically what the study said. I'll try to find it if I can before the show's over. Maybe I can put a link or something. But which to me was even more of a no shit Sherlock. Of course it is. But it's like these things. They take these things we already know, and then they say, "Oh, by the way, study shows," and then like you don't need a study to show you that water's wet.
9 times out of 10, the study does not show what they say it shows.
Yeah,
I can guarantee it's generally not what it says. That's why I was so surprised with the Danish mask study. The one that apparently is taboo on YouTube, I guess. I don't know. In any case, so as far as kids and schooling goes, the whole thing is about indoctrination, folks. And if you don't do what they say, they're going to take your kids away. It's what they do. Cook County judge strips mother of parental rights over vaccination status. And this woman was claiming that she had a doctor recommendation not to get it because she has had allergic reactions in the past to vaccines or something of the sort. So they weren't even in court for this. The judge just arbitrarily did it. And, normally there's preferential treatment or COVID hysteria, but I'm sure it was hard for the woke family court judge. But it's ridiculous. Child's really not at risk. So those anti-vaxxers sure are crazy. They think notoriously corrupt pharmaceutical companies with well-documented criminal records that include falsifying data, bribing doctors, withholding info, and knowingly causing harm are doing the same things they've always done. So crazy. I know.
Yeah,
very crazy.
Imagine not trusting a pharmaceutical company. That used to be like the normie perspective. Like, I don't trust those fucks.
That used to be the left-wing perspective. The whole thing's crazy. In fact, as someone who is I would say a lefty, but more of a libertarian left individual, as I said, we would get to someone else. We have old Jesse Ventura. Oh, this is the one I was looking for that I needed to cut the crop. I had to do these on separate computers, because I had to watch the baby. And Jesse Ventura says, people say they don't trust the government, so they won't really take the vaccine. Really? The vaccine was made in a private sector. The government is paying for you to get the shot for free, so everyone is protected. I urge people to get the vaccine. It's like, what do you... It was made in conjunction with the government. The government is paying for it. Why are you pushing it? It's absolutely ridiculous. Plus, you
can also just not. I mean, you can just not trust private people too. You don't like how libertarian brain do you have to be to think that
these aren't private, but they're corporate.
Yeah.
These corporations aren't private companies, though. Technically, even they're owned by public.
Even if they were, like, you're not under any obligation to trust these fucks.
No, none at all. But Jesse Jesse Ventura is a conspiracy theory guy. What is up with this? Again, must have got too much money. I don't know. He's been in Mexico too long, living it up on all that American money. Here we have no Republican is worthy. My 55-year-old vaccinated nephew died today from COVID. He shared a desk with an unvaccinated coworker who went to Disneyland. My nephew spent 3 weeks in the ICU. Unvaccinated coworker has returned to work. My nephew is dead. How does this happen? I'm so sorry for your loss. Is possible to file a civil suit? Is it possible to file a civil suit against the coworker and the company that allows unvaccinated to work so closely until they pay for their behavior? It won't stop.
Oh my God.
Are people like, am I unaware of like some retard switch that's somewhere located secretly on people? Is it like, hidden in some crevice I'm not aware of? You tickle them in the armpit, right? Where you can turn it off. So let me get this straight. August 2020, with no vaccine existing, less deaths. August 2021, with most people vaccinated, more deaths. And if you think this is the unvaccinated's fault, I just listen to yourself. OMG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These people have brain worms.
They have mind aids. Mind aids and butt cancer. Meanwhile, Krispy Kreme sweetens the deal, donut deal that is, for vaccinated guests will offer 2 free donuts per day. That's like, the unvaccinated people should be denied health care since they refuse to take responsibility for a preventable disease.
Wait a minute. So when you make Leonardo DiCaprio fat, he looks like every one of my dad's friends.
We got a meta. As soon as I got this, my wife's like, "That's not going to last." And I was like, "Sure, it will." And then I drank like a couple of her beers, and I was like, "All right." And I drank 2 of those, and then was it Sunday night? I drank 2 more. I don't even remember. I was like, "Yep, didn't make it to the show." They're tasty though. Might try to get them again. And doctors announced they will no longer treat car accident victims who didn't wear their seatbelt. It's like the old Charlie from It's Always Sunny. Vaccinated are in the hospital because the jab works, but they're sick because of the unvaccinated.
Woo! Yeah.
Follow the connections. It's like Russell Crowe's character in A Beautiful Mind, right? You start seeing all the stuff light up in front of you. This is me when I have COVID. You get COVID. Superpowers. And the reality is, guys, if the elites, they watch people die every day from a lack of healthcare, homelessness, crime, drugs, etc., every day for decades, they don't even blink. Not to mention, we just left, I don't know how many thousands, tens of thousands of Americans in Afghanistan and people that were our allies there that will probably be killed. We don't care. At least our leaders don't care. The royal we. And now they want you to think they care deeply about people dying from a 1%, less than 1% fatality rate. That's the real joke of it all.
The guy that posted this is a really good follow on Twitter. His name's Class Redux Killer. He's kind of used to be a leftist. He might still identify as a leftist, but he's like one of the more sensible ones. So he's pretty funny. And a lot of lefties on Twitter absolutely hate his guts. So it's pretty entertaining.
Well, there you go. So speaking of Twitter, Tank, that's a good transition into this right here. We have Mr. Brooklyn Defiant during the Trump administration said Kamala Harris isn't the only person who is leery of the vaccine Trump is trying to rush out into markets too soon. I won't be taking that until long after people stop dying from taking a faulty vaccine. Interesting. That was on what? September 7th of 2020. What is this gentleman saying today? If the right-wing TV networks like Fox, OAN, Newsmax would stop politicizing the vaccine and start running pieces like these people regret not getting the vaccinated, it might make a huge difference. Yeah.
That guy's got to be like paid to be that stupid, right?
No, he's just that. Well, we'll get to that.
Like, is he a real person or is he just like a bot that someone made?
he could be a Tatiana McGrath.
Yeah.
But of course, we have another one, old Joy Reid. I mean, will anyone at all even ever fully trust the CDC again? What are you talking about? The CDC acted the way it acted because it wasn't run by Trump. If Trump had people in the CDC, we would not have locked down and done whatever else. That is people who were concerned about the economy and all of those things. So this is just stupid on its face. And who on God's earth would trust a vaccine approved by the US FDA? I don't know. How do we get a vaccine distributed after it's broken? Trumpist nonsense has infected everything, even if Biden wins. Great news. Full FDA approval of the Pfizer COVID vaccine. Great sign that others can follow. Hopefully this will get some people off the fence. I don't think most people are on the fence. I think everyone made up their mind a long time ago, and maybe some people are waking up. Trump is taking a page from Putin's playbook and trying to bully the FDA into making a COVID vaccine available before stage 3 is testing and complete. He will kill us all. 71 days. Let it rain vaccine mandates. This is interesting, too, because Putin is not going to have a mandatory jab in Russia. So, wrong again, idiot. It's funny how lefties are wrong like on everything all the time. And finally, COVID approves the Trump vaccine. Good luck, MAGA. What do you mean COVID approves? Wait. Oh, COVID likes it? Well, you're taking the same one. Bring on all the mandates. And then, of course, we have another little cluster with Brooklyn Dad there. But this is what this is. Look at me. I'm a religion now.
I mean, it is like vaccination is like a baptism at this point.
Well, and the thing is just like any cult, there's all kinds of cronyism and nepotism. And now this meme isn't 100% correct, but screw it. We're going to read it anyways. The FDA doesn't do the testing to approve vaccines. The NIH does. Who is the chief of the Department of Bioethics at the NIH? Christine Grady. See who her spouse is there, Tank?
Would it be Anthony Fauci?
Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. There she is with the old Fauci. So, in short, people work, close together. They probably got married. They probably met a long time ago. He was the head of the NIH back in '83, I believe. So, and he's been the head ever since. So why not? I mean, who would ever imagine that a bureaucrat would be not very competent at their job and would be, in bed with somebody that works at their job or has something to do with it? Like they all they all are married to or whatever, numerous agents within the CIA or the FBI or the Fox News or CNN or MSN, whatever it is how it goes, folks. Ties are quite close. Here we have, why is it that if your boss says, have sex with me or you're fired, it's considered coercion? But your boss says, take this shot or you're fired, and it's not coercion. They both want to stick something in you don't want.
Woo! Okay.
Well, I mean, it is kind of like medically rapey. Tank, just a little bit.
I mean, it is. I agree with you. It is a little medically rapey. I'm just thinking how you could spin this to be like pro sex coercion at work. Be like the guy that's really for vaccine mandates and like sucking boss's dick mandates.
I don't understand how coercive. Whatever. I don't understand how coercive sex is even sex worth having, I guess. But yeah, whatever. I just don't think like that. I'm more the type that find out, that something like that happened to someone I care about and want to, remove someone from the face of the earth. But in any case, aside from that inclination of mine, I'm not saying I would do that, folks. let's check in on Australia again real quick. Let's see what they're up to.
How does a country that has so many animals that can kill you become that afraid?
It's interesting because I watched the Timcast IRL last night, and Cindy Watson was on there, and she was talking about Australians, and actually it was a pretty good show. It was a pretty fun show. Although Elijah Schaefer just spouted off a ton of stuff about revelations in the Bible and stuff that was, some of it was true, most of it was nonsense. But yeah. Anyways, but that's another topic to talk about. But yeah, it was pretty good. But she was basically saying Aussies are just like that. They just inherently trust the government. And she said they actually have units. I didn't know this. They have units when people start badgering the government, like writing letters or calling them too much. They actually lock them up because they assume that they're being like obsessive compulsive instead of an actually concerned citizen. So they lock them away for mental health reasons.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So I would encourage you all to go watch Tim's show from last night. It was pretty good. It was entertaining for me, at least. In any case, if you hate Tim Pool, whatever. Let's keep going. So for all the submissive supporting vaccine mandates, this is y'all. Authoritarian, favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the expense of personal freedom. Showing a lack of concern for the wishes or opinions of others. Domineering, dictatorial. It's kind of, something like this. Geez, sorry to hear that. One less vote for the Trump-tards of the future. It says, baby younger than 1 dies of COVID in Louisiana's officials. I doubt that. But I would say something else was going on there. But whatever. But this guy, like, what is it? To just save one life, or we could just save one life. No. I hope you die. It's like, I was watching Quite Frankly the other day, and he was saying this, and I've made the same point before. If these folks, if everything that they want you to do works, right, and they do it, and if you don't do it, you're going to die, then let me die. Let me not do it. I think you're more afraid that you're going to be proven wrong and feel like a fool for doing all this stupid stuff for a very, very long time now. And by the way, it's not going away. Not going away. It's just going to keep ramping up. Remember, guys, the Great Reset is not supposed to be here until 2030, as well as UN Agenda 2030. So don't think that this is going away anytime soon. Meanwhile, you should always trust the government, though, because they are quite competent. Let's listen right now to some government officials.
You guys work for us in this environment. You answer to us, and I'm asking that you do not pass this policy in Virginia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken. Phil McCracken. Souk Mahidik.
Souk Mahidik.
Souk Mahidik. Ophelia McHawk. Ophelia McHawk.
What the fuck?
Eileen Dover. Eileen Dover. Don Kiddick. Don Kiddick. Wayne Kerr. Wayne Kerr.
How did they get so many of those in there?
Because these people doing these things are not that self-aware. They don't know. They're not regular people. They don't live regular lives. They get voted in, and some of them are regular people. Like I know the down here in Shepherdstown, I know the mayor. I don't know if he's the mayor anymore, but I used to work with him. I know another local town. There's a new mayor that he used to be my neighbor. So sometimes, yes, but like that stuff is not the norm. It's normally business people trying to hook their business up. They have ambitions for power, ambitions to get higher up and whatever else. So they don't interact with normal people stuff. You know, I don't know. They're lizard folks. They're all lizard folks. But it shows you their incompetence either way, which was the bigger point. I'm the last person on earth. Still need to wear your mask.
You still need to wear a mask
Yeah.
for COVID-19.
And of course, the guide to monitoring and controlling our global slave population, post-traumatization, and brainwashing through COVID-19 propaganda, released by the World Health Organization. Of course, folks, that is a joke, but this is a side. There's I forget what the actual name is. I don't have the picture of it here. There is a manual they just put out basically with this, talking about COVID-19 or whatever. This is the translation. And of course, you heard it here first from Ramses Paul. Fully vaccinated man dies of COVID. Doctor claims that the results could have been much worse if he did not have the vaccine.
Oh my God.
Within the next generation, I believe that the world's rulers will discover that infinite conditioning and narco-hypnosis are more efficient as instruments of government than clubs and prisons, and that the lust for power can be just as completely satisfied by suggesting people into loving their servitude as by flopping and kicking them into obedience. It's from Aldous Huxley, from a letter to George Orwell. Of course, Buffett says cocaine's a hell of a drug. But here's the reality, guys. You're here. You are here. This machine, I'm not saying it can't be stopped. It's unlikely to be stopped. I'm not saying that there's no hope, though. But the first thing that we have to do is mass non-compliance. This is the only way to end this nightmare. And, people see boogeymen all over the place. I don't know. The boogeyman right now, the biggest one for me, our federal government. Of course, there are bigger boogeymen that run the federal government, but let's get away from this stupid distinction of, the left sees Nazis everywhere and the right sees commies everywhere. They're the same freaking thing. They're just different steps. All right. All I see is a nation of brainwashed idiots who have fallen for the divide and conquer agenda. That's the reality of it. And, it gets old. It gets very, very old. You start looking like this, start putting on, pink Ray-Bans and fake leather jackets and making a show about memes. That's what happens. You get disgusted with everybody. It says, when you look around and realize that most people around you and nearly everyone you've ever known are lost brainwashed sheep. It's like believing scary media stories, noticing some inconsistencies, knowing they lie all the time, actually finding humor in their pathetic attempts to manipulate.
That's all you can do at this point.
That's what the show is. Come on.
It's just laugh. Log on and laugh.
Log on and laugh. That's right. So from Jason Christoph. I'm going to bigly this well, I think. Bigly it well. Well done. We'll do medium well. The psychology of each human is simple. They do want everyone else. They do what everyone else is doing simply because everyone else is doing it. They live on autopilot. Morality, ethics, logic, or long-term consequences rarely enter the picture because we've taught them to live on autopilot as slaves instead of growing an educated populace that is independent and free thinking. circumcision, injecting poisons into our kids and making them healthier, or to make them healthier, lusting for employment inside an evil government, borders that are invisible and therefore don't exist. Take your pick. The average human can't notice their own insanity if the person next to them is just as insane. That's right, because those of you who aren't insane, well, you're not normal in this upside down world now, are you? But I want to remind all of you that the government makes up less than 1% of the population. Even 5% of us simply refusing to comply, we will hopelessly outnumber the government. And those numbers are correct. There's about 2 million people in the federal government. I don't know, though. I'm not sure if that counts the military, because the the Army's going to have about 1 million alone, or nearly that. The Marine Corps, if they're back down to numbers I was at back in my day, is 175,000. I'm not sure what the Navy has, but something like 500,000. So, yeah. So I think that's without that, but still. And if 10% refuse, they'll never even try to enforce it. This is how civil disobedience works. But people are too scared, and they're scared because they've been labeled names like Nazis and fascist and racist, homophobes, and whatever else isms there is that are bad, all the isms. But during the Great Depression, a lot of farmers in the United States were able to pay their mortgage, or weren't able to pay their mortgage, and had their homes foreclosed. Later, when the bankers would sell off the farms at public auctions, the previous owners and the rest of the community would show up with guns. The original owner would bid a ridiculously low amount of money, and anyone with the stones big enough to bid any higher would get their butt kicked in. The original owner would walk away with their farm back and only a couple of dollars lost for their troubles. They called this penny auctions. I called it bringing the community together. Yes, yes. And some of you might think, Bill, you're a little extreme. No, I'm not. Not at all. Some might say, are you aware your posts make you look mentally ill? Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps you're the insane one. Perhaps you're the one who's brainwashed.
Maybe that's the look I'm going for, bro.
Yeah, right.
I like the schizo post.
Here's my thing. If you think I'm insane, imagine taking orders from liars, thieves, pedophiles, psychopaths, and mass murderers, and thinking you're you're more virtuous than those who disobey.
Oof.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, the same people that just left thousands of Americans in Afghanistan to fend for themselves. Yeah. You listen to them. Go right ahead, buddy. Yeah. But you have to. I have to. No, you don't. No, you do your own thing. I'm not advocating to be out there hurting anyone or anything. But this is it, man. I activate Clown World Vision and it looks exactly the same. So there's no escaping it. I might as well just call it out to everybody. And when you have your little conniption because your brain broke, whatever, I'll tell you should have been paying attention longer. I mean, here we have report from the RT. Of course, I'm sure the RT made a more based article than this, as they often do. Incel experiment experiment. They probably are an experiment. Incel expert claims anyone who says triggered or based is likely part of a dangerous extremist group. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I like the word based. I have appropriated that in the last few years, and I quite enjoy it. And there is a line, though, between the based-o-meter and the Fed posting. But if you guys didn't know, being based has a quite rich history, and you should all understand that it is a Greek concept. It goes back from ancient Greek thought, and it's, in basic sense refers to everything that is of excellence of any kind. The term may also mean moral virtue. Its earliest appearance in Greek is the notion of excellence was ultimately bound up with the notion of fulfillment of purpose or function, the act of living to one's full potential. And I can tell you right now, folks, you'll never live to your own full potential if you are a collectivist. Just can't happen. You have to develop your individual self. So let me give you some examples of being based in case anyone is confused here what based means.
Communist club. Have a good day. No, why not?
Now, in case you missed that, that was Castro's daughter. And we'll do it one more time.
Communist club. Have a good day. No, why not?
That, my friends, that is based. You know what also is based? This is pretty based. I'm just saying. Guess who's moving? You. Rent is due on the 1st of the month, not whenever. I have sent you several letters, and you have ignored all of them. Eviction has been filed. An additional $330 have been added. Bring in your outstanding balance or your keys. This is not free housing. If you have any questions, call management. Based. Let's clarify this a little bit more, please. Please, let's do.
A lot of furry requests today, but I can really only do one. So Benji, you're up, kid. Now this is great artwork. Lots of detail, love the colors. One thing I would do though is create a little drop shadow right behind you, just to separate your persona from the background more. You know, really make you pop. Next, I'd put you behind bars where all furries belong. Then I'd throw you in Alcatraz so you can't escape. And then I would put Alcatraz on the moon. Then I would nuke the moon.
Based. Based. And even O King of the Hill is based. Bobby says, "Can I put a gun on my rack on my bike?"
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Of course you can.
Of course you can. Hank says, "Do you know how long I've been waiting for you to ask me that?" Propane. But you know, I'm a big 2A advocate, of course. So is Tank, I believe. I don't know.
I'm a little 2A advocate.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I love guns.
Yeah, but when you ask,
since I am part of the Taliban, I have to love guns, and we just got a bunch of new ones, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Go. There you go. So, how pro gun are you? Oh, me. There are over 550 million firearms in the world circulating. That's one firearm for every 12 people on the planet. That's pretty good. I like that. The only question is, how do we arm the other 11? That's pretty based, folks. I'm just saying.
Hell yeah.
This is based too.
Holy shit.
Can't stop them. They find them in jails, folks. The government is dangerous. The government keep me safe. The government is dangerous. This is the, you know, you have a based retard and the based genius, but no one in the middle there. No one in the middle there, that IQ curve. You're all brainwashed, sheeple. And then of course we have you know, beauty. You know, they want to get rid of all the beauty in the world. What's wrong with these people? They're like, no, outward appearances are only superficial. Yeah, screw that.
Like how the woman at the low IQ part.
Yeah. It says beauty is the ultimate value, something that we pursue for its own sakes, and for the pursuit of which no further reason need be given. Beauty should therefore be compared to truth and goodness, one member of a trio of the ultimate values which justify our natural inclinations. Well, there you go. I mean, that's pretty based, I think. I don't think we should worship beauty, but I get the sentiment. We certainly should try to beautify things more. Your mind and your conscience will be much better when your environment is beautified, folks. You know, not to get all granola on you, but it's true. And, you know, with that, when you accidentally send thoughts and prayers, but you want to do it when you have you sometimes when you have the helicopters running, you got to send thoughts and prayers,
Mm.
And in any case, guys, if you don't know what the helicopter's for, I don't know why you're watching our show. If I knew how to do animations, I guess I'll figure it out one day. I have somebody dropping from there. In any case, my FBI agent, Mike, I know you're out there. I know it's hitting to you. Finally, he's starting to do research on my post, and he figures out that his entire life was a lie. That's the goal, guys. You got to break the feds. It's an internal struggle. It's an eternal war for their soul, not eternal, internal, right? So it's a mind game. It's 17th generation warfare. And lastly, Tank, but not least, I want you to know that the Clintons are doing well with their feds, and they have Epstein watching over them. So,
R.I.P.
There you have it. Yep. I think him and Hillary were just talking to each other about, well, yeah, I know, Hillary, I needed to go. It's okay that you killed me. She's saying no hard feelings. And Bill's kind of hanging back because he's like, man, he's like, that FBI girl, she's kind of hot. So I think that's what's going on here. But in any case, guys, that has been the Real Fake News. And there you have it, baby. There you have it.
Gene in the chat with 10 USD. A woke military is subverted military that obeys their orders without question. Against U.S. citizens? ? Yes. Then another $5. One thing I liked about COVID-19, when I came back, everyone was, oh my God, so glad you're back. It was boring here without you. Your laughs, your jokes, your everything. It was so boring here. And then she talks a lot about Fortnite. Valjean knows too much about Fortnite.
Valjean, you on Fortnite? I know you're over there on HP getting naked. You already said so. I saw that.
What the fuck?
Hey, I mean, maybe who knows how many simps we have in the audience? I don't know.
Hope at least one. I hope.
There's got to be. There's got to be. I mean, generally we only simp for Delaney. I don't think we simp for anybody else. But
guilty.
Yeah. So, well, it's okay to simp for the lesbian. I mean, there's nothing's gonna happen. You can always hope. Anyways, Tank, you wanted to talk about some stuff.
Well, it's not really talk about stuff. It's just something I've been thinking about. The one book I think I've actually showed in the past. Not that I recommend anyone reads because reading is boring and stupid. But there's a book called The Machiavellians, which admittedly I'm a midwit, but it kind of opened my mind or like my eyes to kind of how politics work a little bit more. I'm getting naked. Yeah, please do.
Ooh. Shots fired.
Don't assume my gender.
Did you read all the chats? We had several paid chats there, but
an entropy?
Yeah, man. Are you only seeing one?
I've only seen two, and then one that just got sent.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right.
Valjean said too late for y'all now. My bad. Yeah, so anyway, I read this book, and there's a lot of points in this book, but one of the main points was there's Magna Cartas, and there's Declaration of Independences, and there's all kinds of other words on paper, and they're just that, words on paper, and that what people say usually isn't really conveying what they mean. Usually. And if you want a functional society, you kind of need everyone to say what the fuck they mean, say it with your chest. And it's something I've been thinking about when I see like people bitch about things like guns or bitch about people not getting vaccinated. I feel like they're not actually talking about those things. The things they're actually talking about are 2 or 3 sets removed. So really what I think and it is tribal. I think that's what it is, especially for this vaccine stuff. You got people saying, oh, the people who don't get the vaccine are evil, when what they're really saying is the people who don't get the vaccine aren't like us and therefore should be shunned.
No, we are evil, Tank. I am completely evil by letting you be and being free and making your own choices and being a responsible adult. I freely admit that I am an evil SOB for wanting you to not be coerced in your life. I mean,
right. But the thing that really I kind of been applying this logic to is people bitch about Afghanistan, right? So you see, obviously, a lot of people blue check marks on both the left and the neocons on the right, if you want to call those the right, talking about how woeful it is that little girls in Afghanistan aren't going to be able to read anymore or go to school or where the fuck they're doing. And the plight of little girls in Oman or Niger or all kinds of other countries is basically the same, if not worse, than little girls in Afghanistan. So it leads me to believe they're not actually talking about what they want to talk about. Like they've kind of shrouded their real point here. And their point is they want us to fucking occupy Afghanistan and I don't really know why they want us to. I've got some theories, but
why will we occupy Afghanistan?
Forever, perpetually. Yeah.
Opium for 1, minerals for 2, Iran for 3. So we secure Afghanistan. Iran is literally the same country. It's just above it. It's well, like, you know.
And the thing about it is 50, 60, 100 years ago, a country like the United States would just say, we're going to go occupy that shit because we can, and we've got a dick big enough to do it. And now, for some reason, they want to have the same imperial mindset, but they don't actually want to be honest with their motivations. Like, it'd be a lot easier sell, presumably, to occupy Afghanistan perpetually and saying, we're going to occupy Afghanistan because we want to keep an eye on China or we want to keep an eye on Iran. That's a lot easier sell, in my opinion. So I'm wondering what the motivations are here to, pack it all in behind like feminism or whatever instead of just being honest with your motives. It's almost like the United States wants to be an imperialist power, but doesn't want to admit to it.
I don't know. I think that we're just seeing we're seeing shifts because the Chinese have a better handle on their control of their industries and people, and the United States is a problem because of its people. Mm-hmm. So there are too many folks in the United States. You asked what's wrong with the Aussies. Well, that's what I said. Watch Tim Pool's show because Cindy Watson talked about it. The Aussies are just complying because they just trust their government. That's just in their nature. That's part of their country. It's the same with the Canadians. Not all of them are, but you're not going to have as many. Canadians revolt as you would people who would be here in the United States. And the Brits, they just been ever since World War II. They've been on a fast track to socialism and being locked down all the time. And I remember during the 90s as the CCTV thing really exploded, and especially in the early 2000s, and their crime rates going through the roof and all these other things. Yet the people will do nothing about it. They still like their monarchy.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going along. The city of London, that is that financial banking district, still runs the show as far as how things, work as far as bigger investments, where we're going to war. And I firmly do believe in the Anglo-Saxon American alliance that Carol Quigley lined out. So, for all you based orthodox out there like Tank, Jay Dyer talks about that quite often. I don't watch Jay very often, but I'm just saying. But that is real. You do your own research and homework for it. You start going through, you'll find that all those connections are there. All those things are real. And so we have, all the people that are in all the secret clubs and societies and whatever getting together. And you could say, well, there's no one big conspiracy. I would agree with you, but they're not a bunch of standalone complexes either, as people would present it, although they can appear that way. What they are is they're people just like mine that want power and control, and they've been working together forever. And again, a lot of this stuff goes all the way back to Cecil Rhodes and other folks. If we're not worried about nations themselves and we're just worried about the elites, I think that's where people start. They have the disconnect. They think that there are actually elitists that are doing good for the people, the nation, and they're not. They're only working to build about this one world government. It's what they've been at since, well, I mean, again, we can go back to Cecil B. Rhodes, but since Wilson implemented the Federal Reserve Bank, well, even before that, with some of the stuff that Roosevelt did, and then of course after World War II, everything's just set in stone. Okay, we have a world government now. Here's the UN, and they run the show, man. I'm telling you right now, every COVID policy that you are getting, this isn't just COVID policy. This is from the way you build your homes and the environmental standards that the UN set. The WHO has standards set for vaccination of children around the world. They go to the lowest common denominator because it's what socialists have to do. So their standard recommendations for around the world are applicable to people that live in India, that live in Africa, that maybe live in Afghanistan, places that don't have the infrastructure that we have, that don't have the industry and technology. And of course you have parts of South America that are like that as well. So they that's the most common denominator they use. So say something like a polio vaccine, they still give it out, even though it's considered eradicated in the United States since 1979 or something like that. And recently it's been eradicated in other parts of the world accordingly, and from 2015, 2018, I believe, maybe even 2020, if I'm not mistaken. But they still give it out. It's active in parts of Africa. It's active in Afghanistan right now. There's still polio outbreaks in Afghanistan right now. That's no joke. You can go look that up. But everyone in the world gets vaccinated with polio because of those few areas. That's the standard that a world government applies. It's not specific to you, to the individual, to whatever at home. And so I don't think that they care about Afghanistan, who has power over Afghanistan, because that's all veneer. It's all fake. It's who can get the job done. And the United States is, we've held the bill for so long, and I think it's just time they want to switch us over and move on. And the only way to get the American people who have been historically, and at least in the modern age, the liberty-minded folks under power, well, you have to destroy the economy. You have to lock everything down. You have to bring the war on terror here at home against the white supreme pizzas and all the far right extremists, right? That's what you have to do. So there you go. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean that explains some of it. But when you've got both the elites on the left and the neocon elites, like, just absolutely lamenting that little girls in Afghanistan aren't gonna be able to like read Drag Queen Story Hour or something or whatever. It's just such a weird thing that gets echoed that, to me, it reeks of there's more shit going on than.
Well,
they obviously don't care.
That goes to everyone who says that this is occultist, satanic stuff, because it is. You don't have to believe that, because you probably don't believe in Christianity or whatever. Tank does. I'm talking to anyone who doesn't. But it is. I'm sorry. It's in their writings. Like I said, I'm going to do over on All Minus One. I'm going to start doing a thing here in a bit. Kizza said, now, the Queen is a major upgrade compared to a Parliament, White House, Congress, and Senate. Whatever, Kizza. That's you being English. Y'all love your monarchy for some reason. She doesn't do anything, and she can. She can override all of them. Obviously not over here, but any of those things if she wants. So, so she allows them to go. Yeah, Kiz also said that the original polio vaccine gave cancer. Yes. And it was a big deal. This was a big deal back then. And so this is this slow drip, the boiling of the frog, all that stuff, whatever analogy, metaphor you want to make. The problem, I think, truly is that all this is a shock to people. What's going on now? It's a shock to their system because it destroyed their belief systems. They don't know where to go, where to turn, what to think. Some people already know, hey, I shouldn't trust the government so much. Some people are the big MAGA crowd guys, right? But then you have others that are then going, oh, wow, if the government doesn't protect me, oh, these crazy people out here, these crazy people, like this, they had to shut down everything because of this. It's so bad. Oh, look at all the hospital reports and deaths. And they're not watching anything but the MSNs and the CNNs and seeing the stupidity, that the propaganda that's being put out there, So, and if you tell them, and I talk to people who are aware all the time, and you start to tell them about the way I do, and like, hey, no, actually, this is the globalists in the UN, and I use the UN generally, folks. Like, if you aren't aware, because the UN has about 101 different organizations attached to them and interlinking with them. So, I use them generally because that is what they're pushing. They want the UN to be the global government. So, I don't know. Just remember, Lucifer was the most powerful and beautiful of all of the angels. Lucifer is not a title or a name. Is not a name. It was a description, and is Latin. So, just saying.
Nerds.
Yeah. It means light bearer, but it doesn't read that in Greek. It doesn't read Lucifer. It's a Latin word. It became synonymous with a name.
In Arabic, it's Shiatan.
Yeah, well, Hasatan is the accuser. So that is in the Aramaic. There you go. Nerds!
Multilingual podcast. This reminds me. I don't know why. I just thought about this. If you ever watch that show,
we got 12 minutes, Tank, to fill. Should have let me have more memes.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. I mean, whatever.
Whatever.
I don't know. Like, I just kind of bring that up because I think it's I just think it's important to think about, this kind of this axiom of the question, are people saying what they really mean? Which I think, I know it might sound like stupid to a lot of people, but I think it's something that I have to remind myself of. Like, especially when I hear like liberals talk about like just how much they hate rural. Like, these guys don't know rural people. They don't, anything about them. They don't live there. I see these guys in fucking Twitter. I've run into like 3 Twitter threads today talking about how, people are unhealthy and obese because of food insecurity, and people have been, and multiple people have said people are fat because it's cheaper to eat junk food than it is to cook, which anyone who's ever cooked knows that's not true in the slightest. But it becomes this thing where like they want to talk shit about self-reliant people. They don't like the idea of self-reliance. So they want to blame everything in the world except for the fact that a lot of people just, and to a certain extent, people's lost the ability to cook. Like, it is not something that people really know how to do anymore, but it's not something people can't learn how to do. But that's kind of beside the point. The point I was making with that is that this is one of those things where people really hark on this point, and really what all they mean is, you're the kind of motherfucker that believes that people should be able to cook their own meals, and I don't like you for that.
Well, look, leftists, I said this to my wife earlier today, leftists fundamentally are all sophist because they always have an excuse there's always some excuse or another down the line. It's never logical. It's just excuses. And one of the things they really like about people not eating well is food deserts, as they call them. So I saw a thing on NTD News, which I highly recommend them if you guys want to watch news. Get a lot of stuff you might not hear elsewhere. Like, for instance, did you know recently that the Russians appropriated the name champagne and champagne, or sparkling wine, from the region of Champagne now in France cannot use that name anymore at least for the time being. So there's a trademark copyright thing going on with that.
Good for them.
Yeah, stuff like that. There's other things as well, but that's kind of nonsensical. But anyways, NTD did this thing about the food deserts in Albany, New York, or at least it was the locals were doing whatever, and they were reporting on it. And they're based in New York City, so I've been to Albany, New York, plenty of times. My mother-in-law kind of lives down the street from downtown Albany, and my wife is from Albany. We were just there, last fall or something, I think. Hasn't been that long. In any case, so maybe it's been a year, but it hasn't been like super long. It's not that far to go to where there are places to shop, and they're like, people might have to drive 5 or 10 minutes or catch a bus, and I'm like, okay, I have to do that now to go to the store. Like they're talking about because they had like bodegas or like little corner stores that they didn't have food security. Okay, so my cousin passed away, or sorry, my uncle passed away a few weeks ago. I go over to my cousin's place, she lives kind of near me by the river. And you have to go, I mean, the river's all around, so how it snakes around and stuff, but you have to go like into the countryside a little bit. You have to drive some windy roads and stuff, but it's really not that far. So I think as the crow flies, she's like 5 or 6 miles away, and it's like a 15-minute drive. And I was thinking about that. I was telling my wife, no one talks about food insecurities in a rural area. No one talks about food deserts in rural areas. It's always the urban areas. It's always the urban areas that we're worried about. It's always the urban crime we have to fix. It's always this and that. And yet it keeps being perpetuated. It keeps going the same way. And then what do they do then? They say, oh, all of you people out in the countryside, all of you, people who live in like country suburbia like me, or just the countryside in general, you have to do certain things for these folks who can never get it right, and we have to infinitely drain you of resources. Well, what they're really trying to do is make you, like you just said, completely insufficient and to lure you into the cities.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not, again, if you look at globalist plans, there's not anything anywhere in the globalist plans for sustainable, rural living. It's all sustainable urbanization, because that's how they can control and manipulate and do whatever. And they want the rest of the earth to be greened and used for crops, because they're morons and believe that human society can live on a vegan diet, and it can't. And the amount of environmental destruction that a planet-wide vegan diet would cause is insane. The animals that we would kill, and not to mention all of the chemicals that we use in the way that we do industrialized farming, that would basically make everyone sterile over time, because as Alex Jones once said, they're turning the frogs gay. And that's actually real. The chemicals that are in the water that turn them into females is zapping testosterone from men as endocrine disruptors. So, I mean, and that's not the only thing. It's all the plastics and everything else that are in your life. So, I mean, they don't want you to eat meat. And as I've said many times before, if I wanted to gulag somebody and break them, I'd feed them simple carbohydrate. I'd probably feed them rice, white rice, and that would be it. Just straight, basically glucose, and wouldn't let you get any protein or fat. That's for sure. And yeah, I mean, you show me a picture of a vegan who looks healthy to you. All the vegan experts look like death worn over. So
yeah.
In any case, I mean, you guys, if you want to be a vegan, be a vegan. I don't care. Go do your thing. I'm just saying. Don't implement that top down,
I will say, so since we're slinging dietary advice, I started taking liver pills about a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
Game changer. Absolute game changer. I'm not going to say I feel a lot better, but I feel better, noticeably better. So if anyone's looking at doing a multivitamin or taking a multivitamin.
Yeah, you B12 and you get a huge amount of heme iron.
Yeah. I wish, I talk a lot of shit. I wish I was man enough to just eat liver, but I haven't acquired the taste yet. The only time I could ever eat it was growing up. We ate liver mush, but just like roasting a liver and eating it.
So I'll eat I get cod liver, direct cod liver, which is very creamy, easy to eat. Another workaround is Braunschwurst, which is liver pate, German liver pate that is tasty. It tastes like bologna or kind of like a hot dog. It doesn't really have any livery taste. The channel Bobby's perspective, Bobby, when he went from being vegan to carnivore, whatever he's doing, he's eating whatever now, but he was doing carnivore to heal his gut. He was trying to get liver in, and he couldn't stomach the taste of it. So what he did was he cut it up and froze it, and then he could just swallow it directly.
Yeah.
And that's probably a lot cheaper than buying desiccated liver tablets.
Yeah. It's like $40 for 180 tablets, which isn't, I mean, that's crazy.
Depends on the quality. If you get like the Beverly 500 like horse tablets that they make, they're pretty cheap for the bulk, but they are not the best quality. And I'll tell you another thing, guys. If you eat liver tablets, I used to take them a lot. That is desiccated liver. They'll give you gas that is pretty terrible smelling. And if you don't do it right, you might burp up the liver taste. So,
it was weird. I ran out, so I was going to order some more. And the ones I'm getting are it says on the bottle. I don't know how much you could trust it, but it says grass-fed beef liver from New Zealand, which I don't really like the idea that comes from New Zealand, but whatever. But I ran out, so I was in a major city close by, and I stopped at Whole Foods, which was cucked. I like Whole Foods products, but good God, that clientele is terrible. But anyway, so I'll go to their vitamin section or whatever, and I'm looking for beef liver, and one of the ladies comes to ask me, like, what you looking for? I said, beef liver tablets or beef liver pills. And she goes, oh, I've never heard of that. I was like, okay. Like, you got all this weird shit, I heard of beef liver. She's like, what's it for? I was like, I take it like a multivitamin. But she was just like she had to like stop and Google on her phone. I guess she thought I was lying that was a thing that existed. But she was like taken aback by someone would take beef liver pills.
Yeah, I've had people do that. I mean, my wife was taking them during pregnancy. I used to take them regularly. The reason why I don't take them regularly now mainly is one, cost, and two, they tend to, give me stinky gas sometimes. So, but I would assume that is in combination with other foods I was eating back, years ago when I was doing that.
Yeah.
Stuff I probably don't eat often anymore. We got a donation from Anti-Commie. He says, it's not that it's cheaper or whatever to eat McDonald's versus cooking. It's that cooking or fast food is very much not food. Right. And the food is not very nutritious. They do crazy things to it. I've never seen Forks Over Knives, but it promotes veganism, so why would I? Although I did watch the Game Changers movie, which is just utter nonsense. But a movie I do like that is pretty good, actually, is Food Inc., made by the same people that made Forks Over Knives. There are a few things in Food Inc. I don't like. I don't like that they used a child to the death of a child to highlight a certain thing. I'm not saying that they they're trying to make money on this tragedy or whatever. I'm just saying that, like, just because someone's kid died because of some sort of food poisoning doesn't mean we need to change the whole system. I don't want the government involved in that system the way that they are in the first place. We don't do good. Most of the things like so say the Roundup, the glyphosate that we use that gets in our water that destroys nutrients in the crops and all kinds of other stuff. Like, that's banned in the EU. But here the FDA is, oh no, it's fine. We had the whole DDT thing back in the day. So this is like a regular occurrence, but again, people just like, nah, this time it'll be all right. I'll take my chances. And it's this weird thing where we have totally bred the society of dependence. We've, like the quote I read earlier, we bred this mass of slaves for the picking of the elite, for the choosing, and they willfully enforce their own enslavement. It always reminds me of Solzhenitsyn's work. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're a little over 9, so we're probably going to go.
All right, you big old baby.
I turned to a
gotta go to
pumpkin.
bed. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I don't know if I'll stream or not tomorrow over in All Minus One, but keep an eye out if you guys enjoy the stuff. If I do, I'm going to be talking about the occult and the UN. If not, I should be back there Friday for certain, talking about Christianity and Stoicism. I might do a Monday and Thursday stream next week. We'll see. We'll see. But for certain, Tuesdays and Fridays. So that's at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you guys aren't aware, I do have another channel, All Minus One. And go over there, like, share, sub, all that good stuff. All right. Otherwise, we'll be back here next week at 7 p.m. Eastern. That is next Wednesday. Maybe I'll try and get a guest this week. I don't know. It'd be great if Tank would do something for once. I mean, Tank, are you ever going to try and get a guest on?
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. You heard it here first. We're never getting any more guests as far as Tank's concerned. So, once again, guys, we'll be back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. This is The Ends Justify the Memes. And remember, the ends always justify the memes. Play that outro, Tank.
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in. But the cream will rise to the top.